So a friend of mine recently got me to start playing Magic the Gathering, and isn't that just a perfect excuse to start making some deck boxes? Although of course you can also use it for other cards or just as a storage container for basically whatever you want. So with that, I would say let's make that.
The good thing about this pattern is all we will need is one piece. And to get started, I will first use my groove color to make grooves along the dashed lines, so our leather will fold more easily. Because I'm using quite thick 7-ounce leather for this one, and I would recommend you to do the same, or even a little bit thicker, because then the box stitches will go a little bit easier and it will also hold its shape quite well. This is also quite a firm temper, which again makes the stitching later on a little bit easier and your deck box more sturdy. Then I will just go over all the other grooves and start folding it up so we can already see it taking shape a little bit. And we have 4 inside corners where I will be using a hole punch to cut out a little bit of the inside corners so that it will fold more easily and we can set it up properly for stitching. Now you can already roughly see how and where this is taking shape. And now we can also start beveling and burnishing all the sides that are necessary. So we want to burnish the bottom of the closure, the side of the closure, and also this little section here, because this will sit outside, so this will still be visible later on. Then just below where that ends is also the line we will want to burnish. And then of course also this side. Then I just quickly work through that and then we can start discussing where and how to punch the holes necessary for stitching. So for stitching we will have 2 different stitching holes. First the ones with the normal pricking irons. So we will go all the way up the side here until the part where the closure starts sitting on the side. Then also the top of the box and the sides of the closure flaps here. And then we have the other stitches that we will do with an awl, which will sit at a 45-degree angle, which I'll show you in a minute. And that is what we're going to use for the rest of the holes. So let's do that. Now that we've punched our straight holes, I will use my awl and go in here at a 45-degree angle, so the awl will exit on the side of our leather. And here you can also check other box stitch tutorials to get a little bit more in depth, but then we just walk through the rest of our stitching holes like that. Then we just have one tricky stitch left, and this is in these corners where I will go with the awl through once on one side and then go through the same hole but in this other direction, and I will show you why that is important later when we assemble it with the stitching. Then I just continue with the rest of the stitching holes. And now, before we start sewing everything together, I will also add the closure, and here I'm using these rivet style magnetic buttons, and I would recommend you to use the same because using a normal button can be a bit hard to close and open, and these magnetic buttons work really well for this. So we just put these on and then we can continue with the stitching. And now I will start stitching it in the bottom corner, where we will want our straight stitching holes to sit right on top of our angled stitching holes, so that you can easily sew through it, and then we just continue along that line. Now, when we get to the corner, remember that we use the awl to punch the hole in 2 directions. So now I will use the thread that came on top here and pass it through, but in the other direction hole, so that it comes out on this side. And then pass it through our outside with our straight stitching holes and pull it tight, and then take the other thread from the outside and pass it back through. And like that we have a perfect stitch around this corner, and then we can just continue on our other straight line. Now we can just continue until the end of our stitch, and then we will want to repeat the same process for the other side as well. And now we're just left with the closures, where here we will align the flaps with the top so that our stitching holes match up. Then we can sew this together, and then in a separate stitch I will also add these sides to our back, so it will open and close properly. And again, of course, we want to repeat that for both sides, and once we're finished with that, we're actually done. So now I can put in my cards and go actually play a round of Magic. I'm very happy with the results. This is definitely not a deck box anyone else has, and I hope you liked it as well. If you do, let me know down in the comments, and with that I would say see you next time.